This is not a surprise to anybody. It's really sad that it's got to this point, but I've got to do something for my own mental health, for my wife's, and for Archie's as well, because I could see where this was headed.
A royal gathering meant to celebrate legacy and charity has suddenly become the center of a growing controversy. Reports suggest Harry and Meghan were left out of the King's Foundation Gala, a move that is raising eyebrows and fueling intense speculation. Behind the elegance of the event, questions are emerging about deeper tensions and shifting dynamics within the royal family. Was this a deliberate decision or simply protocol at play? As reactions build, the implications of this exclusion could reveal far more than anyone initially expected today. And do you think King Charles was wrong to have shut them out? Has the royal rift reached a point of no return? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. To help us create more videos and uncover the latest royal drama, please subscribe. Royal doors closing. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle left royal duties, hoping for a freer, more influential and glamorous life. Many expected them to build a powerful global brand, combining royal fame with Hollywood success, media deals, and activism. At first, their move to California seemed to confirm that vision. They settled into a celebrity-filled lifestyle and quickly secured major contracts with streaming and publishing companies. Their interviews and public appearances drew massive global attention, sparking both praise and criticism. For a time, they appeared to have successfully reinvented themselves as independent international figures beyond the British monarchy's influence and control. Supporters celebrated them as brave individuals who chose freedom over tradition. Many admired them for speaking openly about their struggles inside the royal institution. But critics continued to raise one uncomfortable question. What happens when the excitement fades and royal connections begin to weaken? Now, years after their dramatic departure, those concerns appear to be becoming more difficult to ignore. In what many royal watchers see as a striking and symbolic moment, Harry and Meghan reportedly found themselves missing from not one but two of America's most high-profile elite events within the same week, the Met Gala and the King's Trust Global Gala. These were not ordinary celebrity gatherings. The Met Gala is one of the most exclusive fashion events in the world, attended by A-list stars, billionaire business figures, designers, entertainers, and cultural icons. Meanwhile, the King's Trust Global Gala carried even deeper meaning because of its connection to King Charles himself. The event brought together influential figures from business, philanthropy, entertainment, and international society under the banner of the King's charitable work. Yet despite their global fame, Harry and Meghan were absent from both occasions. For many observers, the silence surrounding their absence felt impossible to ignore. There were no dramatic red carpet arrivals, no headline-making fashion moments, no unexpected appearances, and no signs of the couple mixing with the world's most powerful and influential circles. Instead, reports suggested they remained quietly in California, while major celebrities, political figures, royals, and global elites gathered without them. To critics, this no longer looked like bad timing or simple scheduling conflicts. It began to look far more personal. Some royal commentators now believe the couple may be discovering that life outside the monarchy is far more complicated than they once imagined. Fame alone does not always guarantee lasting influence, acceptance, or access to elite circles. In many ways, their royal identity was the very thing that made them so valuable in the first place. And perhaps the most emotionally striking part of this entire situation is the connection to Harry's own father. One of the events they reportedly missed was linked directly to King Charles, a reminder that while Harry and Meghan may have left royal life behind, the shadow of the monarchy still follows every step they take. Why would Harry be prevented from such an occasion? Could there be more to it? Let's delve into the details of the King's Trust Global Gala, the royal celebration without the King's son. A family divided, the King's Trust. Global Gala was far more than a glamorous evening filled with celebrities, flashing cameras, and luxury fashion. Beneath the sparkle and elegance, the event carried deep emotional meaning because it marked the 50th anniversary of one of King Charles's most treasured achievements, the King's Trust, the charity he created decades ago to help struggling young people build better lives. Before becoming king, Charles dedicated much of his life to building a charity focused on supporting disadvantaged young people through education, training, mentorship, and funding opportunities. The initiative became a defining part of his personal legacy, reflecting his long-term commitment to service. The gala was therefore more than an event. It symbolized decades of hard work, compassion, and a public recognition of his lifelong dedication to helping others and creating lasting impact. The event attracted some of the world's most influential names from fashion, entertainment, media, and philanthropy. Guests included fashion powerhouse Anna Wintour, legendary designer Donatella Versace, beloved television personality Martha Stewart, and former British Vogue editor Edward Enninful. Music icon Lionel Richie also helped add excitement and prestige to the evening, making the gathering feel even more grand and exclusive. Inside the gala, photographs captured a relaxed and cheerful King Charles, warmly greeting guests, smiling during conversations, and appearing genuinely comfortable among the elite crowd surrounding him. The atmosphere seemed elegant, celebratory, and full of admiration for the monarch and the charity he had spent half a century building. Yet despite the glamour and celebration, one detail immediately captured public attention and quickly overshadowed much of the evening. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle were completely absent. What made the situation even more striking was the growing belief that the couple had not simply declined an invitation. Many reports suggested they were never invited at all. That single detail transformed public reaction overnight. If Harry and Meghan had merely chosen not to attend, the story might have disappeared within days. But the idea that the king's own son may have been excluded from such a deeply personal family milestone created an entirely different conversation. Questions began spreading rapidly across social media and news outlets. People wondered how King Charles could travel to America, spend the evening surrounded by celebrities, business leaders, and public figures, yet seemingly leave out his own son. Others questioned how a gala centered around compassion, unity, and service could take place without one of the most recognizable members of the royal family present. For critics of Harry and Meghan, the explanation appeared obvious. They believed years of interviews, public accusations, and family tensions had damaged trust beyond repair. But for supporters of the couple, the situation looked heartbreaking, deeply personal, and painfully cold. No matter which side people supported, one image remained impossible to ignore: a king standing proudly among global stars, while his youngest son remained far outside the room. Was the King's Trust event the only place where Meghan and Harry were refused entry? Which other event is it? Let's dive into the details of the gala snub, as Meghan's Hollywood dream faces another blow. Closed celebrity doors. The rejection connected to the King's Trust event was already seen by many as a painful public setback for Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. But surprisingly, that was not the only moment that sparked conversation and speculation around the couple that week. Just a few days earlier, social media had exploded with another noticeable absence. Meghan Markle was nowhere to be seen at the famous Met Gala. Meghan Markle was widely seen as poised to become a major fashion and lifestyle icon in the United States, backed by global fame, royal association, and strong media attention. Her style regularly made headlines and set trends, with many outfits quickly selling out due to the Meghan effect. Brands gained significant commercial value from her influence, as public interest in her wardrobe and appearance consistently drove sales and online conversation worldwide. Because of this, many people viewed the Met Gala as the perfect opportunity for Meghan to fully establish herself as a lasting fashion icon in America. The event is not just a glamorous red carpet filled with celebrities wearing extravagant outfits. It is considered one of the most powerful social events in the entertainment and fashion world. Every appearance, every photo, and every invitation carries meaning. The Met Gala, overseen by the legendary fashion editor Anna Wintour, is famously selective. Being invited is not simply about being famous. Countless celebrities dream of attending but never receive an invitation. The guest list is carefully curated based on influence, social connections, industry relevance, prestige, and personal relationships. In many ways, being invited signals that a person holds an important place within elite cultural circles. That is why many people genuinely believed Meghan finally had a strong chance of attending this year's event. Some reports suggested that individuals linked to the gala shared overlapping social and celebrity networks with Meghan. From the outside, everything seemed to align perfectly for her appearance. But the invitation reportedly never came. The internet reacted almost instantly. Critics wasted no time mocking Meghan's absence, claiming it was another sign that her Hollywood ambitions were struggling. Some argued that major celebrity circles no longer viewed Harry and Meghan as valuable additions to high-profile events. Others went even further, suggesting the couple had lost much of the influence they once carried after stepping away from royal duties. Supporters of Meghan strongly disagreed with those harsh conclusions. They argued that people were unfairly turning one guest list into a major controversy. According to them, not attending one event does not define a person's status, success, or influence. Even so, the timing made the discussion difficult to ignore. Missing the Met Gala alone may not have created such intense headlines, but when combined with the conversation surrounding the King's Trust Gala only days earlier, the situation suddenly appeared far more significant. To many observers watching from both Hollywood and royal circles, it created the impression that two powerful worlds, celebrity culture and royalty, might both be slowly distancing themselves from Harry and Meghan at the same time. And today, that growing perception has become one of the most debated and controversial narratives surrounding the couple. What could be the deeper reason for the rejections? Why do critics say doors keep closing? Let's dig into the details of the reputation problem. Controversy, image, isolation. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle are often associated with controversy and media drama, whether deserved or not. Over time, their public image has become closely tied to emotional headlines, speculation, and public debates. Even ordinary appearances or positive moments frequently trigger widespread discussion and interpretation. Interviews, speeches, documentaries, and public comments often grow into major global stories, shifting attention away from the original purpose and turning nearly every public action into a source of intense media attention. According to royal commentators and media analysts, this pattern may now be influencing how institutions respond to them behind the scenes. When King Charles recently visited the United States, reports suggested that the main goals of the trip were centered on diplomacy, charity work, cultural engagement, and strengthening international relationships. The intention, insiders claim, was to keep the visit calm, structured, and free from distractions that could shift attention away from its purpose. From this point of view, critics argue that inviting Harry and Meghan could have changed the entire tone of the trip within hours. Instead of media focusing on the King's charity events or diplomatic meetings, headlines would likely shift toward family tension, speculation about reconciliation, or renewed debates about the relationship between the Sussexes and the wider royal family. Even without anything dramatic happening, the presence of the couple alone could redirect attention. Because of this, some palace officials and advisors may have considered it safer to keep the focus tight and predictable. In high-level public events, especially those involving international attention, control of messaging is often very important. Once the narrative changes in the media, it can be difficult to bring it back. This is not only a royal family issue. Some people in the entertainment and public relations world reportedly express similar concerns. They argue that wherever Harry and Meghan appear, the level of attention becomes extremely intense. The event itself can easily be overshadowed, as discussions shift toward them rather than the purpose of the gathering. For organizations that rely on careful planning and a controlled image, this can be seen as a risk. Many institutions prefer events that remain focused on achievement, charity, diplomacy, or celebration, without unexpected media storms following afterward. Predictability helps them protect their reputation and message. Critics therefore believe this may explain why invitations to certain high-profile events appear to be less frequent. Whether intentional or not, the couple's presence tends to bring a level of attention that can overwhelm the original intent of the occasion. At the same time, there is a clear irony in their situation. Harry and Meghan stepped away from royal duties, partly to escape intense public scrutiny and constant media pressure. Yet years later, they still find themselves deeply connected to headlines, public discussion, and ongoing debate. The difference now is that the attention no longer simply follows them as members of the royal institution. Instead, it follows them as individuals, shaping how opportunities, appearances, and invitations may be viewed. In trying to step out of the spotlight, they appear to have entered a different version of it, one that is just as intense but less predictable, and in some ways, more isolating. But what must have caused the fallout between the Sussexes and the royal family? Could it be something insignificant? Let's find out. Trust, truth, and the fallout. Many royal watchers and experts often trace the biggest turning point in the breakdown of the relationship between Prince Harry, Meghan Markle, and the royal family to one major moment: their sit-down interview with Oprah Winfrey. When that interview aired, it immediately became a global event. Millions of people watched as Harry and Meghan shared, in a very open and emotional way, what life inside the royal system felt like for them. They spoke about deep personal pain, including struggles with mental health, feelings of being trapped, and moments of loneliness. Meghan also described experiences of not feeling supported, while Harry reflected on the pressures and emotional weight of royal duties and media attention. For many viewers around the world, the interview created a strong wave of sympathy. People saw them as a couple trying to speak their truth after feeling unheard for a long time. It was emotional, raw, and unlike anything usually seen from members of the British royal family. However, inside royal and palace circles, the reaction was very different. Many believed that the interview broke an unspoken rule that has long protected the monarchy: the rule of privacy and silence. The royal family has always depended on keeping internal matters away from public discussion, presenting a united and controlled image to the world. Because of this, the interview was seen by some as a serious breach of trust. After that moment, things did not calm down. Instead, the situation became even more complex. Harry and Meghan went on to take part in more public projects: documentaries, interviews, podcast work, speeches, and later Prince Harry's memoir, where he shared even more personal details about his life inside the royal family. Each new release kept their story in the global spotlight and continued to bring private family matters into public conversation. To supporters of the couple, these actions represented courage and honesty, a way of telling their side of the story in their own voice. But to critics, especially supporters of the monarchy, it felt like repeated exposure of private issues that should have stayed within the family. No matter which side people take, one thing is clear: the relationship between the Sussexes and the royal family was permanently changed after those public revelations. The trust that once existed was deeply shaken, and the distance between both sides became harder to close. In the years that followed, observers began to notice new changes. At first, stepping away from royal duties looked like a bold and refreshing new beginning. Harry and Meghan appeared ready to build an independent life filled with freedom and global influence. Opportunities quickly followed. Media companies, streaming platforms, interviews, magazine covers, and high-profile deals all brought them into constant public attention. For a while, it seemed like their influence was only growing. They had a strong presence, a powerful story, and global interest. But over time, critics argued that the momentum began to slow. Some projects received mixed reviews, and public opinion started to shift more sharply and become divided. What once looked like a guaranteed path to lasting influence gradually became more complicated. Without the structured support system of the royal institution, sustaining the same level of long-term attention and impact proved more difficult than many had expected. Now, even small details, such as who is invited to major royal events and who is not, are often closely watched and interpreted as signs of how far the distance between both worlds has grown. Could Meghan have negatively affected the relationship with the royal family? Let's talk about Meghan's reported influence on Harry's growing distance from the royal family. Royal rift deepens. Reports have suggested that the relationship between Prince Harry and the British royal family became more tense and complicated as his bond with Meghan Markle grew stronger. According to these accounts, things began to change gradually, not overnight. As Harry and Meghan's relationship developed from dating into marriage, many observers believe it also marked a shift in how Harry saw his role within the royal family and how he related to its members. The report indicates that Meghan may have played an important role in encouraging Harry to look at royal life in a different way. Before Meghan, Harry had spent most of his life within the structure of the monarchy, accepting its rules, traditions, and expectations. However, as their relationship deepened, he reportedly began to question some of these long-standing practices. These included strict palace traditions, heavy media attention, and what he allegedly felt were unfair differences in how senior royals were treated. Over time, Harry is said to have become more open about his frustrations. Some sources claim he felt pressure from the royal system and struggled with the intense public spotlight that followed him everywhere. It is suggested that Meghan supported him in expressing these feelings more openly, especially issues that, according to reports, he had carried quietly for years. This change marked a noticeable shift from silence and duty towards speaking out and setting personal boundaries. After their marriage, Harry's relationship with senior members of the royal family reportedly became more strained. He was increasingly described as feeling misunderstood and not fully supported. The article suggests that Meghan's views on privacy, public life, and family relationships may have influenced Harry's thinking and strengthened his dissatisfaction with royal life. Together, they are said to have discussed how they wanted a different kind of life, one with more freedom, independence, and emotional space. This growing distance eventually led to their decision to step back from official royal duties. The move shocked many people at the time and sparked global attention. According to observers quoted in the article, Meghan's influence may have given Harry the courage to make such a bold decision and to speak more directly about his experiences within the monarchy. Over the years, Harry and Meghan's interviews, media appearances, and documentary projects have reflected a more open and critical view of royal life. They have spoken about their struggles, mental health challenges, and their desire for a different future. Supporters believe this honesty shows personal growth and strength. Critics, however, argue that their public statements have increased tension and created a wider emotional gap between Harry and his family. In the end, the article portrays Meghan as a significant figure in Harry's changing outlook. Whether seen as positive or controversial, her presence in his life is often described as a turning point. It is suggested that their partnership reshaped how Harry views tradition, duty, and family ties, leading him onto a path very different from the one expected of him from birth. Who was Prince Harry before he got under Meghan's influence? What did he represent? Let's delve into the details of Harry's painful fall from royal insider to royal outsider. Royal identity crises. Perhaps no part of this story feels sadder than Prince Harry's changing place within the royal world. For much of his life, Harry stood proudly at the center of royal ceremonies, military events, national celebrations, and global tours. He was once considered one of the monarchy's most relatable and popular figures. His military service especially helped shape his public identity. When Harry served in Afghanistan with the British Army, many people admired him deeply. He was seen not only as a prince, but also as a soldier willing to share risks alongside others serving their country. That chapter gave him respect far beyond royal titles. But after stepping down as a senior royal, many of the ceremonial roles connected to his military identity disappeared. Official duties, royal honors, and major public events tied to the monarchy were no longer automatically his. Now, while King Charles and Prince William continue representing the crown at national ceremonies, Harry often watches from the sidelines. The difference is striking. The man once positioned at the heart of royal tradition now appears separated from it almost entirely. Even the Invictus Games, Harry's most respected and meaningful project, may eventually feel the impact of this growing divide. The Games remain highly admired worldwide, but royal commentators frequently point out that royal backing helped give the event enormous prestige and influence. Without strong royal support, maintaining that same level of global importance could become increasingly difficult. Harry also seems trapped in a deeply uncomfortable position emotionally. He left royal life seeking freedom, yet his public identity remains tied to royalty more than anything else. He criticized the institution, yet still appears emotionally connected to his family. He wanted independence, yet much of his relevance continues depending on royal headlines. That contradiction may explain why his current situation feels so complicated. He is no longer fully inside the royal family, but he is not fully separate from it either. Instead, he appears caught somewhere painfully in between. Are there hopes of reconciliation? Could the snub lead to a complete face-off? Let's dive into the details of the fractured family, amidst the hope of father and son reuniting. Family divides deepen. At the center of all the headlines, glamour, controversy, and speculation lies something much more human: a broken family relationship. Beyond the royal titles, media deals, and celebrity gossip, this is ultimately the story of a father and son drifting further apart. And many people find that genuinely heartbreaking. King Charles and Prince Harry reportedly remain emotionally distant despite occasional public hope for reconciliation. Even when both men are in the same country, meaningful meetings seem rare or non-existent. Royal duties, public schedules, media attention, and damaged trust continue standing between them. Each missed event only deepens public fascination with the growing divide. The King's Trust Gala especially highlighted this painful reality. While Charles stood surrounded by celebrities and supporters celebrating his legacy, Harry remained absent from one of the most important nights connected to his father's life work. That image carried enormous emotional symbolism. Some royal observers believe reconciliation is still possible. They argue that family bonds should matter more than palace politics, public criticism, or past mistakes. They believe Charles should eventually reach out privately before the emotional distance becomes impossible to repair. Others disagree completely. Critics argue that Harry and Meghan repeatedly attacked the monarchy publicly while still expecting access, privileges, and royal connections afterward. From that perspective, boundaries became necessary for the survival and stability of the institution. And so the standoff continues. Meanwhile, Harry and Meghan face an increasingly uncertain future in both Hollywood and royal circles. The invitations seem fewer. The connections appear weaker. The excitement that once surrounded their post-royal life has started fading into something more complicated. What once looked like a fearless new beginning is now beginning to look, at least to some observers, like a gamble that came with consequences neither Harry nor Meghan fully expected. Still, the story is far from over. Royal history has always been filled with conflict, heartbreak, reconciliation, and surprising twists. Relationships that once seemed permanently broken have healed before. Families divided by pride and pain have found their way back together. But for now, one reality seems painfully clear. The world Harry and Meghan once walked through effortlessly is changing around them. The royal family continues moving forward. The palace remains standing. The glamorous events continue, And increasingly, Harry and Meghan are watching those doors close from the outside looking in. So, what do you think about Harry and Meghan's rejection? Do you think they deserve to get furious? We'd love to hear your opinions in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe.